Milsurp Garage. So this is the first in a series I'm going to call Is It Tactical? And we're going to start off this series with the Italian Beretta with the 1934 and the 1935 right here. Okay, these have both been safety checked. These are inert snap caps in our magazines here, of course, from realisticsnapcaps.com. Take a look in the description. There's a coupon code there where you could get these things at a discount, 10% off, free shipping, and you could do things like I'm going to do, like play with your guns. The 1934 I have here is a 1942 vintage. It's in 380 ACP. And this served as the sidearm for the Italian military forever. Even other Beretta guns came out, you know, like the 1951 came out, and they just... Still, I think the military... I didn't look it up. I really should have looked up to see the exact years, but trust me, it's been around. It was around all through World War II, and then some. They just did not let go of this thing even after World War II. And it's like a pocket gun. So it's the craziest thing. This is what gave me the idea of this series. This is the 1935. This is a 1957 vintage. 1935. These are in 32 ACP. So I'm not going to sit here and debate the calibers and be like, you know, is 32 caliber or 380 caliber a viable caliber for self-defense and stuff like that. I'm just going to really look at, like, say, the mechanics of these older guns. Not so much compared to newer stuff, but, like, do they hold their own against something that's newer? Can you arguably carry this thing and say that it's not so bad tactically, so it's not a bad choice to carry to defend yourself, for self-defense, or for a real practical purpose, let's put it that way. Whatever your practical purpose is, whether it's self-defense or you're in some type of job where you have to carry a gun for protection or something like that. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Let's get the 57 out of here for now. Let's just concentrate on the 380 cal, the actual vintage World War II gun here. Now, I guess an easy way to approach this would be to just look at it and say, first of all, what differs from your conventional guns, like, of today? Like, what differs that's something that people might not necessarily be used to? Well, number one, you see there's no magazine drop button, no magazine release here, and or this side for that matter. So you might wonder where it is, and this is what's called a heel release. So when you have the magazine in, the heel release just hooks over the end of the mag, and it's spring loaded, and the magazine, pushing those rounds up into the bottom of the bolt now, has a slight springy action. So that's what you'll get if you push this back. So it's literally... See people at the range that don't know these things. Some guy tried this very gun out a couple of weeks ago. I let him shoot it at the range. I was like, hey, you want to try this thing out? And he was trying to release it. He's pushing it in. He's trying to pull it, twist it. For some reason, it just doesn't come naturally unless you're used to it, on how to get these out and how to get them in. It's a lot of struggling going on. So what I'm realizing is it's really that you just have to understand how it works. It's actually, when you're first struggling with it, you're like, this is the most ridiculous design I've ever seen to get a magazine in and out. But once you know how to do it, it's actually not that hard to yank quick out and bang right in. But at first, this method seems odd. It's really hard to push to get it. And look, there's no drop. So it's not like you could press it and it drops. And as the magazine's dropping, you're reaching for the next mag to just slam in there. So obviously, it's definitely going to take longer. But, well, that's arguably too. I don't really have the conditions here to actually test it. But you can't just, when you're out, press a button and have the mag falling out of the gun while you're reaching and coming up with your new mag. So there's going to be a couple of different movements here. First of all, this hand, the firing hand, doesn't have to do anything when you're out. So when you're out, the slide's going to stay back. And see, I shouldn't have loaded this mag out. Let's pull these, because we want to actually show. So on the last round, the slide's going to stay back like this, which is good tactically. So far, this is a cool thing actually, that it stays back. There's a reason why newer guns do that. Problem with the Beretta is that when we remove the empty mag, the slide comes down, the slide comes forward. So that kind of defeats the purpose of having it back. The whole idea of it being back is that it stays back, and then when we put in the new mag, we cycle the action or hit a slide release, and the slide comes back down and loads the first round. We don't have that going on, but we do have it staying back on the last round. Now, what Beretta suggests, what was taught, I think, to the military in Italy, was to then, this is the safety right here, and it's also will hold the slide open. So there's actually two hold opens here. There's one for the magazine, on the magazine, if the follower will hold it open. Then there's this other click right here. That's the click where you would use it for takedown. So this is just now manually holding the slide back, where the magazine has nothing to do with it now. You could take the magazine in and out. So they suggest you put that on, take the magazine out, replace it with a fresh mag, and then, well, let's see, it would have to be a fresh mag that has rounds in it for this to work right. Replace it with a fresh mag, and then turn that off, and it would load the first round, and you're ready to go. This is what I think I've read that the military trained everybody to do. However, there's a couple of problems with that for me. Number one, so you fired your last round, bang. We fired our last round, slides back. We put the safety slide lock on. Let me give it that one last tug. This seems like a weird procedure before you're even taking the magazine out. But let's say we're in the middle of taking the magazine out. The problem is, this is the takedown position for the slide. So if there's any contact here to the barrel, we're losing the barrel. This is a World War II vintage 34, so this is loose. On 35, we could see that, let's just lock it open like this so I don't have to empty the mag. This one locked open in that position. The barrel's much more locked in there. If I banged it on the table, it would come loose, but we wouldn't have to worry about that with this one. But here, it's too loose for that. I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. And then look, see, I show you how there's two positions. Because without the mag in, if we release that, oh, I'm sorry, what I'd have to do is, I'd have to, see, there we go. Case in point. If the magazine's in, and we just put, I'll show you how it'll just go forward that one notch, see that? And now it's still caught where the magazine has to come out to do the next. All of that, there's too much going on there. If that's true that the Italian military had them doing it that way, I think that was a mistake. Why can't I drop the hammer here? Oh, I have the safety on still. Okay. Yep, that is what it's for. All right, there we go. Here's a better idea, in my opinion. A better way to use it. Is it tactical? Maybe if you use it like this. I think this is the most tactical way to show you how to carry and how to reload, in my opinion. Like where we were before, this heel release. If you get good with this heel release, you could use this. See, this is like a finger catch here, because without that there, this pinky kind of hangs off the edge. So this is kind of just like a hook right there for your pinky to sit in. So I got pretty big hands, and I fit in here nicely. But this is useful because you could use this right here, to control the mag very easily when you go to pull it out. And then when you're bringing the mag back, a full mag back, just want to make sure I have some on the top, because I want to make sure this is realistic, that there's rounds on the top of the mag, because putting it in, I've seen people struggle with this too. This is spring loaded here, right? So it doesn't just fit. He's expecting it to just fit. A Glock mag would just fit in there and slide in, just like this. You would hardly even touch the gun. But with this, it doesn't fit that way. So you'd either have to press like that and rock forward, which I don't like, because when you're doing that, when the magazine's empty, that's just fine. But when the magazine's full, see how I'm catching this round here? That's not cool. So, in my opinion, you use this pinky right here. This is what makes it happen. Because you put the magazine against this heel release, and you use your pinky to push it in and home. So it's out, in, out, in. That's the most tactical way to load this magazine, to take it out and to load it. So now, when would you actually be reloading? My opinion, you got to really be level-headed and think with your head, think mathematically with this gun. Because when you know you're down to that last round, and it's in there right now, I got the last round in there right now. When you know you have that last round in there, that's the time to go out with the empty, in with a fresh mag. You don't have to cycle anything. You don't have to touch anything. I mean, it's a tactical reload. And a tactical reload is something that's common to even do with today's guns, to avoid the extra steps you would have to take if you actually run dry. So this isn't like a new technique that would have to be learned per se. If you're already training tactics with handguns, you're well schooled with tactical reloads. But putting the extra effort towards a tactical reload every time, all the time, would make this function basically as tactical as any other single action only exposed hammer semi-automatic pistol. Okay, you just would have to get used to the hand having to reach up to take the mag out and drop it, and then reach for the new mag. I was experimenting with, like, let's say you already had the fresh mag in your hand. It's still possible to release and then in. This obviously is the mag for the other one, so I don't want to push it home, but you can do that. If you had two mags, I don't have two mags to mess around to play like that, but it's all you really need are two fingers. It's two fingers in, and it's the same. It doesn't matter. Your hand's going to be empty when you're putting it in anyway, but to get it out, it's just two fingers. These two pinchy fingers. I got a mag right here. I could have a mag right here. Still use these fingers. Out. And then in. Your hand is right there to go in. So as you're shooting and you know you're going to be reloading, before you even reach for the heel release, you reach for your new mag and come up with your new mag. And you could go out and in right away. Okay, so that could help out to make it a little bit faster. And as far as how to carry this thing, this is interesting here. if you were carrying this thing concealed, the best way to carry it is, in my opinion, is, let's just do it. Let's get some rounds in here. So in my opinion, you would, oh, I didn't know I had one in the chamber. This is a definitely good food for thought on why to be using completely inert rounds when you're messing around like this. Is to carry it half cock like this. This locks up everything. You can't pull the trigger. You can't cycle the what can you? No, look. Oh yeah, you can. Okay, so you can cycle the action, of course, with it on half cock. You would be able to cycle the action. What was I thinking? All right, what was the other thing it locked up? I forgot. It locked up one other thing. Oh, you know, just simply, here's what I was going to say. So what it does is, at half cock, if you would drop it on the hammer, there is a safety where the hammer won't go forward. You know what I mean? So it's blocking it from discharging, and you have absolutely nothing here in the fire position. You can still put it on safe or take it off. But leaving the safety off and on half cock would probably be the way to carry it. But here's something interesting. At least with my hands, you know, this is how it works ergonomically. If I were to draw it and I wanted to keep my finger long and straight along the slide for safety, finger off the trigger, and I wanted to thumb the hammer back, this is a weird angle. I'd have to kind of turn it in my hand in a weird way. If I draw like this, I would have to kind of turn it over in my hand like that to get the hammer back, I notice. So it's not practical. I can't do it from this position. How weird is that, right? But as you're drawing, say this is like my side right here. As you're drawing, if you come across with the other hand and just sweep the hammer back, then you can still keep your finger along the slide. So it's very easy to sweep your hand across the back of this hammer to cock this hammer, because you'll kind of struggle like this, and that could be a problem if you're drawing it and you need it right away. It's just instinct to draw and not really not really transition to the trigger until you're right on your target. And as you're trying to thumb the hammer back, you can kind of stumble right here. So if you're training tactically, I would train on the draw to come right up like that and then transition to the trigger. That's just one thing I just figured I'd throw in there. Is anything different with the 35? I mean, with the 1935. I don't think so. We have all of the same things going on. Just with this, it's a little newer, so it's a little smoother. But the in and out with the mag is identical. It's this one's a little stiffer, obviously, but it's the same 2 fingers for release and the pinky helping out going in. And we just practice this over and over to get this smooth. This removal and replacement. You have no idea how I've seen people struggle with these things when they don't know what's going on. And they're mostly typical with a rock back type thing with an interference to put it back in. Most of these heel releases, they're European, and most of them are the same. But I've seen them differ. I've seen slightly different versions of it. If we continue with this series and I take a look at some other guns, we'll explore them. You know what I mean? But this one, is it tactical? I'd have to say yes. I have look how and look at that. If there's a double feed, just by pulling the mag, we'll have to dump that round out of the top. But we'll still do a breech check. We still have a round in there. See, so clearing a double feed. It's not like in feeding these snap caps. It's much stiffer. This one. This is one of those guns that functions flawlessly when there's explosions going on, but when you try to baby it, it's not really all that happy. But let's I'll show you with the 34. Show you one other thing here quick that's interesting tactically, and then so we'll call it a wrap here. Breech checks are easy enough. Why do we not have that round picked up? Extractor. You know what I need in here? I need an extractor spring in here. I think I might have replaced this guy. If you punch out that pin, this is actually rocking on a fulcrum here. This is the extractor along the top there. See it? And it's like a spring that makes it stiff. I think I need one for here. They're very simple to replace, but see how it's not really strong enough to grab that round right now. But again, when it's actually working, it works fine. When it's actually shooting, go figure. But let's just say we had a double feed here, like this. So we have one round trying to feed up into another round that's in the chamber. This is a typical type of malfunction that could be difficult to clear with some semi-automatic pistols, but with this guy, all you do is drop the mag and all the way out, because you'll lose that round. And then, oops, then you reinsert the mag again, and you won't even have to cycle the action. The round will just be there. So once again, drop, get rid of that round, mag back in, and you're good to go. Yeah, I'm going to get that spring. Maybe I'll show how to replace it. But yeah, these things are plenty tactical, actually. They have some differences because of this European style mag release is going to be something that's going to slow you down a little bit. However, like I said, if you stick to tactical reloads, you don't really have to mess with this crazy slide, with this weird slide that drops, because otherwise, if you just fire it till it's empty, right, and you take the mag out, this is just conventional. Like, you take the mag out, you grab another mag, and you slap it in. You're gonna have to, I don't know, throw at least one of these in there to be realistic, and you slap the mag in. So I didn't use my own procedure, right? You're still gonna have to cycle the action. Not a terrible thing, even if you did it that way. It's not terrible. I'm just trying to, that's not something you'd have to do with a Glock or a 1911. When you replace the mag, all you'd have to do is thumb a slide release. You wouldn't have to grab the slide and rack it. However, a lot of guys, I notice, they don't even rely on the slide release. That even when they reload, they grab the slide and pull it back and let go. In which case, it's not really changing much of what you would be doing here. So yeah, my answer is it tactical? Yes, I would say these are tactical. I think they are. I don't think they depart too much from even what we have modern day today, which is like the best that we could do to make a combat handgun or to make it tactical, which is probably why the Italians loved this thing and chilled with it for all those years, whether it was in 32 caliber or 380. They didn't look too hard at the smaller caliber and the smaller size of the gun. They were in love with it. They loved the way it functioned, and they loved its reliability. And I'm going to show you a video right here. I showed a little bit at the beginning, I think. I'm going to show you another video here at the end. You see a little bit of malfunctions going on here where I'm not picking up rounds and it's not chambering in the 35. But I'm telling you, I'm going to show you this pictures of me at the range with both of these guns, and they do not miss a beat. Not a single misfire, failure to feed, stovepipe, double feed, nothing. You know what I mean? So it just goes to show, if you can slowly feed rounds and do that with these snap caps here, you're going to have no problem at the range. You know what I mean? Because this is the hardest thing to do, is for a gun to work slowly under these very careful conditions. You know, it's more designed to be able to cycle when there's a huge explosion going off and kicking the round out really strong and all of that. So, and plus, you know, not snap caps that have been cycled through the gun 10,000 times. You know what I mean? So, yep, that's that, folks. I deem them tactical. I have a feeling with this series, I love these guns so much, I'm probably going to deem them all tactical. But I am going to be honest about their function and about how much they differ from what you might be used to if you use modern guns. And I will be honest, if something is just so ridiculously flawed, that it would just make it not a good choice. I will be honest about that. So we'll see you next time. Check out some of this shooting action going on here at the range with these two. And you all have a good time. Thanks. Subscribe. I'm telling you, this is going to be a cool series. Plus, we're going to chuck in some new stuff that I got, so don't worry. I've got a lot of ideas coming up. But subscribe and come on back and visit. And to my loyal subscribers, thank you. And I'll see you all next time. Later.
I hate you off and get money on it. What's your score?
Alright, if you hung in this long, I'm going to give you an extra little tidbit. When these are empty, the slide stays back like this and locks back. And typically, you'll see people do that with the magazine to bring the slide closed. Just release it and push it back in again. That's a little awkward. I find that a little bit weird. If I'm ever in a situation where I'm handling it, cleaning it, whenever I open the slide and I just want to close it, I don't manipulate the magazine like that every time the slide slams home. I like a much more subdued approach. What I do is I grab the slide and I kind of web hand it here and I just push the follower in. Nice and easy. Just push the follower in. Gotta watch your fingers, of course, but you know what? It's a little quieter, it's a little smoother, it's a little more normal. You know, then having to go, you know what I mean? That looks odd, just to lower the slide and slam the slide home like that. Or if you got a big hand and you don't want to grab the back of the slide like this, you could one-hand it right across from the front to take the pressure off the slide. And you could just do it like that. Once again, you could just grab it right across the front. Then you have control over it. Boom. All right, y'all. See you later.